In this video, we will discuss the intriguing world of procrastination. Now, procrastination is a term we often throw around, but what does it really mean? Simply put, procrastination is the habit of delaying or postponing tasks. It's that nagging feeling that tells you to check your social media notifications when you're supposed to be working on a report, or that convinces you to watch just one more episode before starting that project. We all fall into the procrastination trap from time to time, and that's okay. It's part of being human. However, it becomes an issue when it starts to hinder our productivity or causes us unnecessary stress. Suddenly, those unchecked tasks pile up, and we find ourselves scrambling to meet deadlines, which can lead to a cycle of anxiety and guilt. Understanding procrastination is the first step to overcoming it. And here's the kicker. Not all procrastinators are created equal. Yes, there are different types of procrastinators, each with their own unique traits and tendencies. Now that we know what procrastination is, let's delve into its types. First on our list is the thrill-seeker procrastinator. This is the daredevil of procrastinators. They crave the adrenaline rush that comes with the ticking time bomb of a deadline. Imagine a skydiver, heart-pounding, seconds away from the jump. That's the thrill-seeker procrastinator with their tasks, basking in the exhilarating thrill of just in time. Now, you might be wondering, what makes a thrill-seeker procrastinator tick? Well, it's not laziness or a lack of focus, quite the contrary. They're often quite competent and capable. The key is in the thrill, the adrenaline rush of racing against the clock. It's the exhilaration that comes from snatching victory from the jaws of defeat. They're the ones who say, "Why do today what you can put off until tomorrow?" And it's not because they don't want to do it, but because the thrill of the last-minute hustle is just too enticing to resist. But here's the catch. This adrenaline-fueled approach to tasks can be a double-edged sword. On one hand, the pressure of a looming deadline can indeed stimulate creativity and productivity, leading to some truly impressive last-minute outcomes. On the other hand, the constant high-stakes environment can lead to unnecessary stress and potential burnout. Not to mention, the quality of work can suffer when everything is done in a rush. It's also worth noting that this type of procrastination can impact not only the procrastinator, but also those around them. Teammates, colleagues, friends, and family can all feel the strain of the thrill-seekers' down-to-the-wire tendencies. So, if you find yourself pulling all-nighters, fueled by the thrill of chasing deadlines, or if you feel an unmistakable surge of energy as the clock ticks down, guess what? You might just be a thrill-seeker procrastinator. But don't worry, recognizing this is the first step towards managing it. If you feel a rush of excitement when completing tasks at the 11th hour, you might be a thrill-seeker procrastinator. Next, we have the avoider procrastinator. This type of procrastinator is all too familiar with the phrase, "Why start something if it might not turn out perfect?" The avoider procrastinator often delays tasks due to fear of failure or even success. Yes, you heard that right, success. It sounds paradoxical, but let's break it down. Imagine you're standing at the foot of a mountain, gazing up at the peak. The path to the top is steep and rocky. The avoider procrastinator sees this mountain as their task. The fear of stumbling or not reaching the peak in record time can be so overwhelming that they decide it's safer not to start the climb at all. But it's not just fear of failure that can paralyze the avoider procrastinator. Sometimes, it's the fear of success. They worry that if they do well, they'll set a precedent. They'll have to maintain that level of excellence in everything they do. And the pressure of living up to high expectations, either from themselves or others, can be daunting. This type of procrastination often goes hand in hand with perfectionism. The avoider procrastinator is their own harshest critic, always striving for the ideal, and anything less is seen as a failure. This can lead to stress and anxiety, creating a vicious cycle of avoidance and procrastination. So how can you tell if you're an avoider procrastinator? Well, do you often find yourself putting off tasks because you're worried you won't do them perfectly? Do you avoid starting a project because you fear you won't live up to your own high standards or the expectations of others? Are you overwhelmed by the pressure to succeed, to the point where it's easier not to try at all? If you find yourself delaying tasks due to fear of outcomes, you might be an avoider procrastinator. But don't worry, understanding your procrastination style is the first step towards overcoming it. Lastly, we have the indecisive procrastinator. This kind of procrastinator is quite the character, often found in a whirlwind of thoughts, struggling to land on a decision. Picture this. The deadline is approaching, but they're stuck at the crossroads of choices, unable to make up their mind. They're not lazy or seeking a thrill, they're just caught up in a net of indecision. They might spend hours, even days, deliberating over options, weighing pros and cons, and yet they find it challenging to make a choice. Every task becomes a monumental decision, and this can significantly slow down their productivity. You see, the indecisive procrastinator is like a sailor caught in a storm of thoughts, unable to steer the ship in a clear direction. Time slips away while they're anchored in a sea of choices, making it hard for them to move forward. So, what about you? Do you often find yourself delaying tasks because you're caught in the web of indecision? Are you spending more time deciding than doing? If you're nodding along, you might be an indecisive procrastinator. But don't fret. Recognizing the problem is the first step towards finding a solution. If you often delay tasks because you're unable to decide, you might be an indecisive procrastinator. Now that we've explored the 3 types of procrastinators, it's time to reflect. We've delved into the world of the thrill seeker, the avoider, and the indecisive procrastinator. Each of these procrastinators has unique characteristics and habits that hold them back from reaching their full potential. The thrill seeker enjoys the rush of last-minute work. The avoider sidesteps tasks due to fear of failure or success, and the indecisive procrastinator gets stuck in a loop of indecision, unable to make a move. It's important to recognize these traits in ourselves, as understanding is the first step to overcoming procrastination. Perhaps you're a mix of 2 types, or maybe you've identified strongly with one. Whichever the case may be, recognizing these habits can help us devise strategies to combat procrastination and boost productivity. Remember, understanding your procrastination type is the first step towards overcoming it. Please comment below which type you relate to the most, and don't forget to subscribe for more insightful content.